Commander Jake Morrison floated in the zero gravity of the construction bay. He watched as the last pieces of armor were welded onto the massive ship in front of him. The vessel was unlike anything built before. Its black hull seemed to eat light. Itself, workers in spacesuits moved around it like tiny ants. "Sir, the final weapon systems are online," said Captain Ryan Torres through the radio. He was standing on the bridge of the ship they called Terra's Fury. "Dr. Harper says we're ready for the first test." Jake smiled inside his helmet. 3 years of secret work was finally complete. The human race had built something that would change everything. 12 ships just like this one floated in the hidden shipyard. They were scattered through the asteroid belt, where no one would find them. Dr. Lisa Harper's voice came through the speakers. "Jake, you need to see this. The dark matter generators are working better than we hoped. These ships can do things that will surprise everyone." Jake pushed off from the wall and flew toward the Terra's Fury. His magnetic boots clicked onto the hull as he entered through the airlock. Inside, the ship hummed with strange energy. The walls glowed with a soft blue light that came from the dark matter cores. Lisa was waiting for him in the main lab. She was a small woman with bright eyes that always seemed excited about her work. Charts and numbers covered every screen around her. "Jake, look at this," she said, pointing to a display. "We can phase the entire ship out of normal space. The aliens won't even know we're there until we want them to." "Show me," Jake said. Lisa pressed a button. The ship around them seemed to shimmer. Jake felt strange, like he was falling but not moving. Through the windows, the stars looked different. They were still there, but seemed far away. "We're in dark matter space now," Lisa explained. "We can move through normal matter like it doesn't exist. Their sensors can't see us. Their weapons can't touch us, but we can still see them and hit them." Jake nodded. This was exactly what humanity needed. For months, the Galactic Council had been making threats. They said humans were too dangerous to be left alone. They wanted to control Earth and all human colonies. The Council ruled over thousands of worlds. Their armies were huge. Their technology was old but powerful. They thought humans were just primitive creatures who got lucky with space travel. They were wrong. "How long until all ships are ready?" Jake asked. 2 days, Ryan Torres answered. "From the bridge. All captains have finished training. The crews know their jobs. We're ready to show these aliens what humans can really do." Jake walked to the main viewing screen. Through it, he could see the other ships in the fleet. Each one was a masterpiece of human engineering. They had taken ideas that alien scientists said were impossible and made them real. The Council's mistake was thinking all races were the same. They believed technology grew slowly over thousands of years. They never imagined that humans could leap ahead so quickly. Human scientists didn't follow the old rules. They asked questions that aliens thought were stupid. They tried things that others said couldn't work. While the Council made bigger versions of old weapons, humans invented completely new ones. While aliens built thicker armor, humans learned to ignore armor entirely. The dark matter weapons didn't just break things. They made things stop existing. Jake's radio crackled. "Commander, we're getting a message from Earth. Ambassador Kate Williams needs to speak with you." Kate's face appeared on the screen. She looked tired and worried. "Jake, the Council has made their final demand. They want us to give up all colonies outside the solar system. They say we have 24 hours to agree, or they'll take them by force." "What's their fleet looking like?" Jake asked. "Our spies count over 3,000 ships. They're gathering just outside our system. The Council thinks this show of force will make us surrender without a fight." Jake almost laughed. 3,000 ships sounded like a lot, but they were built with old technology. They used the same weapons and shields that aliens had used for centuries. They had never fought an enemy that could appear and disappear at will. "Tell the council we need time to consider their offer," Jake said. "Ask for 3 days." Kate raised an eyebrow. 3 days? Jake, what are you planning? "We're going to give them an answer they'll never forget," Jake replied. "But first, we need them to bring their entire fleet into one place. Make them think we're scared. Make them believe they've already won." After Kate signed off, Jake called all the ship captains. Their faces filled the screen from their different vessels. These men and women had trained for this moment. They knew what was at stake. "Tomorrow, we show the galaxy that humanity won't bow to anyone," Jake told them. "We've been building this fleet in secret while they made their threats. They think we're weak because we're young. They're about to learn why that's the biggest mistake they could make." Captain Ryan Torres spoke up. "Sir, what about after we win? The council rules half the galaxy." Jake had thought about this many times. "Then we'll have to do something no one expects. We'll give it back. Not to the council, but to all the races they've been controlling. This isn't about conquest. It's about freedom." The captains nodded. They understood. This wasn't just a war for Earth's survival. It was a chance to change everything. For too long, the strong had ruled the weak in the galaxy. It was time for something new. Jake looked out at his hidden fleet one last time. Tomorrow, these ships would appear in council space like ghosts. They would strike without warning and vanish without a trace. The age of the Galactic Council was about to end. The dark matter drives hummed louder as the ships prepared for battle. Humanity's secret was about to be revealed. Admiral Seth Parker stood on the bridge of his flagship and smiled. Around him, 3,000 council ships moved in perfect formation toward Earth. The sight should have made any enemy surrender immediately. No force in the galaxy had ever stood against such power. "Sir, we're receiving Earth's response," his communications officer reported. "Put it through," Seth commanded. He expected to hear humanity surrender. Instead, Ambassador Kate Williams appeared on the screen looking calm. "Admiral Parker, humanity rejects the Council's demands. Earth and all human colonies will remain free." Seth couldn't believe what he heard. "Are you insane? Look around you, human. We have 3,000 warships. You have maybe 100 old vessels. Surrender now, and we might let your species live as servants." Kate's expression didn't change. "We prefer to take our chances." The transmission ended. Seth shook his head. Humans were even more stupid than he thought. "All ships, prepare for battle. We'll destroy their pathetic fleet and then bombard their planet until they beg for mercy." The council fleet spread out in their traditional battle formation. They had used the same tactics for 1,000 years. Why change what always worked? Their plasma cannons could melt through any armor. Their shields could stop any weapon. Or so they believed. Seth's sensors showed the human fleet approaching. The ships looked small and weak compared to council vessels. They moved slowly, as if their engines were barely working. "This will be over in minutes," Seth told his crew. Captain Ryan Torres sat in the command chair of Terra's Fury. Around him, his crew worked quietly at their stations. Through the dark matter phase, they could see the council fleet but remain invisible themselves. 11 other human ships waited with him in the space between spaces. "All ships report ready," his tactical officer said. Ryan opened a channel to the other captains. "Remember, we hit their command ships first. Take out their leadership, and the rest will panic. Dr. Harper, are the weapons charged?" Lisa's voice came from the science station. "Dark matter projectors at full power. When we fire, those ships won't just be destroyed. They'll be erased from existence. Ryan studied the enemy formation. The Council had made it easy by putting all their best ships in the center. Their commanders were so confident that they hadn't even raised shields yet. All ships, prepare to phase into normal space. Target the flagship and carrier groups. Fire. On my mark, the 12 human ships shimmered into reality right in the middle of the Council formation. For a moment, nobody moved. The alien crews stared in shock at the vessels that had appeared from nowhere. Fire, Ryan ordered. Beams of pure darkness shot out from the human ships. Where they touched Council vessels, metal and energy simply stopped existing. Entire sections of ships vanished, leaving perfect spheres of nothingness that grew larger as they consumed more matter. Seth Parker watched in horror as his flagship's sister ship disappeared piece by piece. The dark matter beam ate through the hull like it was made of paper. All ships, return fire. Target those human vessels. But when the Council weapons fired, they passed harmlessly through empty space. The human ships had already phased out of normal reality. They struck like lightning and vanished like shadows. Dr. Lessa Harper monitored the battle from Terra's Fury science station. Her calculations had been perfect. The dark matter weapons worked exactly as predicted. Ryan, their shields can't stop us. Their weapons can't hit us. We're fighting with technology they don't understand. The human ships appeared again, this time behind the Council battle line. More dark matter beams lanced out. Entire squadrons of enemy vessels simply ceased to exist. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Impossible. Seth screamed as another of his ships vanished. Nothing can bypass our shields, nothing. But the dark matter weapons didn't need to break through shields. They attacked the very atoms that made up the ships. Matter touched by dark energy forgot how to exist. The process spread like a virus, consuming everything it touched. Captain Ryan Torres watched the chaos with grim satisfaction. The Council had expected an easy victory. Instead, they were learning what happened when bullies met someone stronger than themselves. Sir, the enemy is trying to retreat, his tactical officer reported. Let some of them go, Ryan replied. We want survivors. To spread the word. Let them tell the galaxy what happened here today. The battle lasted less than an hour. When it ended, 3/4 of the Council fleet was gone. Not destroyed in the normal way, but completely erased. Empty spheres of nothingness marked where. Proud warships had once floated. Admiral Seth Parker's flagship limped away with the other survivors. His bridge was dark, most systems damaged by proximity to the dark matter weapons. Get me Chancellor Vextar immediately. The Chancellor's scaled face appeared on the cracked screen. His yellow eyes were cold and angry. Explain to me how 3,000 ships lost to a handful of human vessels. They have weapons we've never seen before, Seth said, his voice shaking. They can appear anywhere without warning. Our shields are useless. Our sensors can't track them. Sir, they're using technology that shouldn't exist. Vextar's claws scraped against his chair. Impossible. Humans are primitives. They've only had space travel for a few centuries. Tell that to the 2,000 ships that no longer exist, Seth replied. Whatever these humans are, they're not primitive anymore. Back on Terra's Fury, Jake Morrison arrived to assess the victory. The bridge crew was celebrating, but Jake remained focused. This was just the beginning. Casualties? He asked. None, sir, Ryan reported. We took no damage at all. The enemy never got close to hitting us. Dr. Lisa Harper pulled up tactical displays. The dark matter systems performed better than expected. We can maintain phase state longer and recharge faster than originally calculated. Jake nodded. This was good news, but he knew the real fight was just starting. The Council will be in chaos now. They'll be trying to figure out how we did this. We need to keep them off balance. What are your orders, sir? Ryan asked. Jake looked out at the debris field where the Council fleet had been. Twisted metal, floated where proud warships once sailed. It was a warning to anyone who thought humans could be easily conquered. We take the war to them, Jake decided. Hit their shipyards, their military bases, their command centers. Show them that nowhere is safe. Make them understand that the age of Council dominance is over. The human fleet began to phase out of normal space. Soon they would appear deep in Council territory, bringing their dark matter weapons to worlds that had never known defeat. The galaxy was about to learn a new lesson about humanity. The weak had become the strong. The hunted had become the hunters. And the Council's 1,000-year rule was crumbling faster than they could comprehend. Captain Ryan Torres studied the holographic display of Kithara Station. The massive industrial complex floated in space, building new ships for the Council fleet. Hundreds of workers moved between the construction bays, unaware that death was coming for them. Defensive systems? He asked his tactical officer. Standard Council setup, plasma batteries, shield generators, and a garrison of Brutari warriors. They think their station is safe because it's 50 light years from human space. Ryan smiled grimly. Distance meant nothing to ships that could travel through dark matter space. They had appeared here without warning, just as they had at a dozen other targets in the past week. Dr. Harper, can we selectively target the military systems and leave the civilian areas intact? Leisha looked up from her science station. The dark matter beams can be focused down to a few meters. We can cut out their weapons and leave everything else untouched. This was important to Ryan. Unlike the Council, humans didn't wage war against innocent people. They fought soldiers and destroyed military targets, but they tried to protect civilians whenever possible. All ships, begin the attack. Target weapons and shield generators only. Let's show them how precise we can be. The 12 human ships phased into normal space around Kithara Station. The station's alarms immediately began screaming, but it was already too late. Dark matter beams lanced out with surgical precision. Weapon platforms simply vanished. Shield generators ceased to exist. In seconds, the mighty fortress became helpless. On the station's command deck, General Kraith roared in frustration. The Brutari warrior was 3 meters tall with 4 arms and natural armor plating. His species had never lost a battle in recorded history. But today, he faced an enemy his claws couldn't reach. Where did they come from? He demanded. Unknown. Sir, his aide replied, trembling. They appeared without any sensor warning. Our weapons are gone. Shields are down. We're defenseless. Kraith growled deep in his throat. Brutari warriors were trained to fight to the death, but how could they fight ships that existed outside normal space? Prepare for boarding. If they want this station, they'll have to take it from us personally. Colonel Amy Foster materialized. In the station's main corridor, her dark matter suit allowed her to phase through the hall without damaging it. Behind her, 50 human soldiers appeared like ghosts. They carried weapons that could shift between normal matter and dark energy. Brutari guards opened fire immediately. Plasma bolts filled the hallway with deadly energy. But the shots passed through the humans like they were shooting at shadows. Amy raised her weapon and fired back. The dark matter pulse didn't kill the alien warriors. Instead, it paralyzed their nervous systems, dropping them safely to the floor. Remember, we're here to capture, not slaughter, she told her team. The humans moved through the station like they owned it. Walls couldn't stop them. Locked doors meant nothing. They appeared wherever they wanted and struck without warning. The Brutari warriors found themselves fighting an enemy they couldn't touch or understand. General Craig H made his last stand in the command center. He had gathered his best warriors around him, but they looked nervous. Even Brutari courage had limits when facing the impossible. Amy Foster phased through the sealed blast doors and stood before them. She was small compared to the alien warriors, but her presence filled the room. "General, your station is taken. Your weapons are destroyed. Surrender and your people will be treated well." She snarled and charged. His forearms swung massive energy clubs that could crush steel. But Amy simply stepped out of phase. The general's attack passed harmlessly through her. When she solidified again, her weapon was pointed at his head. "I said surrender," Amy repeated calmly. For the first time in his life, General Kracht dropped. His weapons. Around him, his warriors did the same. They had been defeated without a single human casualty. Back on Terra's Fury, Jake Morrison received reports from across Council space. Every target had fallen exactly as planned. Shipyards captured. Military academies destroyed. Weapon factories erased from existence. The Council's ability to wage war was crumbling. "Sir, we're getting communications from several alien species," his communications officer reported. "The Meridian traders want to meet with us. So do the Vorthan scholars. They're offering to help." Jake wasn't surprised. The Council ruled through fear and oppression. Many species had been waiting for someone strong enough to challenge them. Now that humanity had proven the Council could be beaten, rebellion was spreading. Dr. Lisa Harper looked up from her workstation. "Jake, I've been analyzing captured Council technology. Their science is advanced, but stagnant. They haven't had a real breakthrough in centuries. They just make bigger versions of old designs." "Why?" Jake asked. "Their culture discourages innovation. New ideas are considered dangerous. Scientists who ask too many questions disappear. That's why they never developed dark matter manipulation. They were too afraid to try." This explained a lot. Human science advanced quickly because humans questioned everything. They weren't afraid to fail or to try crazy ideas. The Council's fear of change had become their greatest weakness. Ambassador Kate Williams contacted Jake from Earth. "The diplomatic situation is changing rapidly. 12 Council member species have declared independence. Others are demanding the Chancellor's removal. The Empire is falling apart." Jake nodded. Military victories were important, but political change would be lasting. What about species that remain loyal to the Council? Most are staying quiet and waiting to see what happens. But some are doubling down, the Zephyrians especially. They'd rather destroy the galaxy than give up power. This concerned Jake, desperate. Enemies were the most dangerous. "Keep monitoring the situation. We need to know if anyone is planning something extreme." On Drax's station, the Council's primary military academy, another human strike force had just arrived. This target was special because it held the future commanders of the Council fleet. If these young officers could be shown the truth, they might help end the war faster. The station surrendered without a fight after seeing what happened elsewhere. The cadets, mostly young aliens from different species, were gathered in the main assembly hall. They looked scared and confused. Ryan Torres stood before them and spoke through a universal translator. "We are not here to hurt you. We want you to see something that your leaders have hidden from you." He activated a holographic display showing the battle at Earth. The cadets watched in shock as the Council fleet was destroyed. Then he showed them footage from liberated worlds where Council forces had massacred civilians who asked for freedom. "This is what you're really fighting for," Ryan said. "Not honor or justice, but the right of the strong to oppress the weak. You can choose a different path." Many of the young aliens began to cry. They had been told they were the good guys, defending civilization from chaos. Now they saw the truth about their own government. One cadet, a young Vorthan female, stood up. "What will happen to us now?" "That's up to you," Ryan replied. "You can go home and tell others what you've learned. Or you can join us in building something better. The choice is yours. By the end of the day, half the cadets had volunteered to help the human cause. The other half asked to be sent home to their families. Ryan granted both requests. Fear might win battles, but only hope could win wars. Jake Morrison reviewed the day's reports with satisfaction. The council was learning that their empire was built on quicksand. Every victory encouraged more rebels. Every defeat made their allies nervous. But Jake knew this was still just the beginning. The council had ruled for 1,000 years. They wouldn't give up easily. The real test would come when they stopped reacting and started planning their counterattack. The hunt had begun, but the prey was far from helpless. Chancellor Vextar paced around his throne room like a caged animal. His yellow eyes burned with rage as he read report after report of defeat. Half his empire was in rebellion. His fleets were scattered. His generals were afraid to leave port. How many ships do we have left? He demanded. Defense Minister Coulter checked his datapad with shaking hands. 800 warships, sir. But most captains refuse to engage the humans directly. They say it's suicide. Vextar's claws scraped against the metal floor. Cowards. We ruled this galaxy for 1,000 years. Are we going to be defeated by a species that barely learned to fly? Sir, perhaps we should consider negotiations, Coulter suggested carefully. The humans have made no demands. They haven't tried to conquer our worlds. Maybe we can reach some agreement. The Chancellor's tail lashed violently. Never. I would rather see the galaxy burn than bow to inferior creatures. He turned to his military aide. Activate the final protocol. If we cannot rule, then no one will. The aide's face went pale. Sir, the final protocol will destroy hundreds of populated worlds. Billions of innocent lives will be lost. Better dead than ruled by humans, Vextar snarled. Send the orders immediately. Captain Ryan Torres was inspecting the captured Nexus gate station when the alarm sounded. The massive structure controlled faster-than-light travel for an entire sector. Taking it had cut the Council Empire in half. Sir, we're detecting massive energy buildup in the Centauri system, his sensor officer reported. The readings matched theoretical data for planet-killer weapons. Ryan's blood went cold. Intelligence reports had mentioned that the Council kept doomsday weapons for extreme emergencies. How long until they fire? 6 hours, sir. The target appears to be New Geneva Colony. Ryan immediately contacted Jake Morrison. Jake, the Council is preparing to use planet killers. They're going to murder 60 million human colonists. Jake's face was grim on the screen. How many weapons do they have? Unknown, but probably enough to destroy every human colony outside Earth. They'd rather commit genocide than lose power. This was exactly what Jake had feared. Cornered animals were the most dangerous. All ships converge on the Centauri system immediately. We stop this now, or we lose everything we've fought. Faux R. Dr. Lisa Harper worked frantically at her science station. Jake, I'm detecting 17 planet killer stations hidden throughout Council space. They're all powering up simultaneously. This isn't just about destroying human colonies. They're targeting rebel worlds, too. The scope of the Council's plan became clear. Rather than accept defeat, they would destroy dozens of worlds and blame it on human aggression. Billions would die, but the survivors would fear humanity more than they hated the Council. Can we stop them all? Jake asked. Not with conventional attacks, Lisa replied. But I have an idea. If we can create a galaxy-wide dark matter pulse, we might be able to disrupt their power systems simultaneously. What are the risks? Lisa hesitated. It could work perfectly, or it could tear holes in space-time across half the galaxy. I honestly don't know. Jake made the hardest decision of his life. Do it. We can't let them murder billions of innocents. On the prison world of Color Prime, Colonel Amy Foster led a desperate rescue mission. The planet held 2 million political prisoners from dozens of species. Intelligence suggested it was one of the Council's primary targets. Amy's transport ship phased through the planet's defensive grid without being detected. Her soldiers materialized inside the prison compound, where thousands of guards kept watch over the inmates. "Remember, we need to evacuate everyone in less than 4 hours," Amy told her team. After that, this planet becomes a target. The liberation began immediately. Human soldiers appeared throughout the prison complex, disabling guards and opening cell blocks. The prisoners, many of whom had been held for years, could hardly believe what they were seeing. Dr. Ventar, a brilliant Forthan scientist, grabbed Amy's arm as she passed his cell. "Colonel, you must listen. I helped design the Council's planet killers 20 years ago. I know how to stop them." Amy paused. "How?" "Each weapon has a central control node. If you can feed them false targeting data, they'll fire at empty space instead of populated worlds. But you need someone who knows the access codes." "You?" "Yes. I memorized them before I was imprisoned for speaking against the Council. I've been waiting for this chance." Amy made a quick decision. "You're coming with us." The evacuation continued as Amy contacted Jake Morrison. "Sir, we have a potential solution to the planet killer problem. Dr. Ventar says he can hack their targeting systems." "Can we trust him?" Jake asked. "He's been in prison for 15 years for opposing the weapons program." "I think he's legitimate," Jake nodded. "Bring him to the Terra's Fury immediately." Back on Centauri Prime, Chancellor Vextar watched the countdown with satisfaction. In 3 hours, the first wave of weapons would fire. Human colonies would burn. Rebel worlds would die. The survivors would learn what happened to those who challenged the Council. "Sir, we're detecting human ships approaching the system," his tactical officer reported. "How many?" "All of them, sir. The entire human fleet is coming here." Vextar smiled coldly. "Perfect. We'll destroy their fleet and their colonies simultaneously. Ready all defensive positions." The 12 human ships phased into normal space around Centauri Prime. The planet's orbital defenses opened fire immediately, but their shots passed harmlessly through phased targets. Return fire from dark matter weapons began methodically destroying the defensive platforms. On Terra's Fury's bridge, Dr. Ventar worked frantically at a control station. His 6-fingered hands moved rapidly over the alien interface as he tried to break into the planet killer network. "I'm in," he announced. "But the security is incredible. I need more time." "How much more?" Jake demanded. 20 minutes minimum." Jake looked at the tactical display. The planet's defenses were falling, but the weapon countdown continued. "Dr. Harper, is your galaxy-wide pulse ready?" "As ready as something completely theoretical can be," Lisa replied. "But Jake, I can't guarantee what will happen. This could save the galaxy or tear it apart." Through the ship's communications, Ambassador Kate Williams contacted Jake from Earth. "Jake, I'm receiving surrender offers from 15 Council worlds. They're abandoning the Chancellor and asking for human protection." "Tell them they'll get it," Jake replied. "Anyone who stands against genocide deserves our help." The battle for Centauri Prime raged around the planet killer station. Human ships darted in and out of reality, striking at critical systems while avoiding the station's massive guns. But time was running out. 2 minutes until the first weapon fires. "Doctor," Ventar announced, sweat dripping from his scaled forehead. Jake made his decision. "Lisa, fire the galaxy pulse. We can't wait any longer." Lisa's hands moved over her controls, charging dark matter generators to maximum. All ships brace for dimensional shock wave. The Terra's Fury began to vibrate as incredible energies built up in her core. Around the galaxy, Every dark matter-equipped ship began doing the same. The combined power would create a pulse that could be felt across thousands of light years. "Firing now," Lisa announced. A wave of invisible energy erupted from the human fleet and spread outward at faster than light speed. It passed through normal matter without effect, but electronic systems began failing across the galaxy. The planet. Killer weapons, dependent on precise computer control, simply shut down. Chancellor Vextar screamed in rage as his doomsday weapons went silent. Impossible. How did they do this? Dr. Ventar looked up from his station with a tired smile. "It's over, Jake. All 17 weapons are offline. The targeting computers are fried." Jake slumped in his command chair with relief. They had prevented the greatest genocide in galactic history. But he knew the war was far from over. The Council still controlled hundreds of worlds, and Vextar would never surrender voluntarily. "All ships, prepare for final assault," Jake ordered. "Today we end the Council's reign of terror forever." The Council's final stronghold burned in the void above Centauri Prime. Chancellor Vextar's personal fortress, once thought impregnable, crumbled under the relentless assault of human dark matter weapons. But the Chancellor himself had one last card to play. Captain Ryan Torres watched the tactical display with growing concern. "Jake, we're detecting an energy buildup in the planet's core. It looks like Vextar is trying to turn the whole world into a bomb." Jake Morrison studied the readings with Dr. Lisa Harper. If Centauri Prime exploded, the blast would destroy everything within several light years, including Earth's entire fleet and the billions of people living in nearby systems. "How long do we have?" Jake asked. "Maybe 20 minutes. Before the chain reaction becomes unstoppable," Lisa replied. "We need to get down there and stop him personally." Colonel Amy Foster's voice came through the communications. "Jake, my team is ready for planetary assault. We can phase through their defenses and reach the Chancellor directly." "Too dangerous," Jake replied. "If the planet explodes while you're there, you'll die with it." Amy's response was firm. "That's a risk we have to take. Millions of lives are at stake." Jake made the decision that would define the rest of his life. Do it, but the moment things go wrong, you phase out and retreat. Amy's strike team materialized inside Vextar's personal command bunker, deep beneath the planet's surface. The Chancellor stood before a massive control panel, his claws dancing over the activation sequences. Around him, his loyal guards raised their weapons. "Too late, humans," Vextar snarled. "In 15 minutes, this planet becomes a star. Your fleet will burn, and the galaxy will remember what happens to those who challenge the Council." Amy stepped forward, her dark matter suit shimmering. "It's over, Vextar. Your empire is gone. Your allies have abandoned you. End this madness before more people die." The Chancellor's yellow eyes burned with hatred. "I would rather die than live in a galaxy ruled by primitive apes." He turned back to his controls and began the final activation sequence. Amy had no choice. Her weapon fired a precise dark matter pulse that severed Vextar's arms at the shoulder. The Chancellor screamed in pain and rage, but he could no longer reach the controls. Dr. Ventar, who had come with Amy's team, rushed to the control panel. His 6 fingers moved rapidly over the alien interface. "I can stop the chain reaction, but I need 3 minutes." "You have them," Amy replied, turning to face the remaining guards. The battle in the command bunker was brief but violent. Council. Guards fired everything they had, but human soldiers phased through their attacks like ghosts. Dark matter weapons dropped the aliens safely, their nervous systems paralyzed, but their lives spared. "Got it," Ventar announced. "The chain reaction is stopped. The planet is safe." Amy looked down at the defeated Chancellor. Vextar lay bleeding on the floor, his empire in ruins around him. For a moment, She almost felt sorry for him. Then she remembered all the worlds he had oppressed, all the people he had enslaved. "It's finished," she reported to Jake. "Vextar is captured. The planet is secure." Above Centauri Prime, the last council ships were surrendering. Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of Terra's Fury and watched 1,000 years of tyranny come to an end. But victory brought new challenges. "Sir, we're receiving surrender offers from 300 council worlds," his communications officer reported. "They want to know what comes next." Jake had been thinking about this moment for months. The easy part was destroying the council's military. The hard part was building something better to replace it. "Open a channel to all council worlds," Jake ordered. "It's time to explain what humanity really wants." His image appeared on screens across the galaxy. Billions of beings from hundreds of species watched as the human commander who had shattered their empire began to speak. "People of the galaxy," Jake began, "the Galactic Council is finished. Their reign of fear and oppression is over. But we did not fight this war to become your new masters. We fought for something the galaxy has never seen before. True freedom for all sentient beings." He paused, letting his words sink in. "Every species will govern itself. Every world will choose its own path. No one will rule over anyone else. Those who try to recreate the Council's tyranny will face the combined strength of all free peoples." Ambassador Kate Williams took over the broadcast from Earth. "In 1 month, representatives from every species will meet on the neutral world of Haven to establish a new galactic federation. This will not be an empire ruled by the strong, but a partnership of equals working together." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Across council space, celebrations erupted as oppressed peoples realized they were truly free. But not everyone was happy with the changes. Dr. Lisa Harper worked tirelessly to establish the technological foundations of the new order. Her greatest achievement was creating a way to share dark matter technology with other species, but only under strict safeguards. "The technology will be used for exploration and defense," she explained to Jake. "But if anyone tries to use it for conquest, it will automatically shut down. We can't risk another tyrant getting this power." Jake approved the plan. Humans had learned that great power required great responsibility. They wouldn't make the Council's mistake of hoarding their advantages. The first meeting of the Galactic Federation took place exactly 1 month later. Representatives from over 200 species gathered on Haven, a beautiful world that had been chosen for its symbolic importance. It was here that the Council had first established their empire, 1,000 years ago. Jake Morrison found himself elected as the Federation's first chairman, a role he accepted reluctantly. "I never wanted to rule anyone," he told Kate Williams privately. "I just wanted humanity to be free." "That's exactly why you're the right person for the job," Kate replied. She had been chosen as the Federation's first speaker, responsible for diplomatic relations between species. The new government was deliberately weak compared to the old council. No single person or species could make decisions for others. Everything required consensus and cooperation. It was messy and sometimes frustrating, but it was fair. Captain Ryan Torres found himself commanding the Federation Defense Force, a multinational fleet dedicated to protecting all member worlds. The dark matter ships remained primarily under human control, but crews now included beings from dozens of species. "It feels strange, fighting alongside former enemies," Ryan told Amy Foster during a training exercise. Amy, now head of Federation Special Operations, nodded. "But that's how we know we're doing something right. Yesterday's enemies can become tomorrow's friends if we give them the chance." Dr. Ventar established the Federation Science Council, dedicated to sharing knowledge freely among all species. For the first time in galactic history, scientific advances were shared immediately rather than hoarded by the powerful. "This is how progress should work," he explained to Lisa Harper. "When everyone contributes, Everyone benefits. 5 years passed. The galaxy had changed beyond recognition. Trade flowed freely between worlds. Scientific advances accelerated as species shared their knowledge. Wars became rare, settled by negotiation rather than force. But the dark matter fleet still patrolled. The galaxy, a reminder of what happened to those who tried to oppress others. They were no longer hunters, but guardians watching over the peace that so many had died to achieve. Jake Morrison stood in the Federation Assembly Hall and looked out at representatives from 300 species. Once these beings had cowered under council rule. Now they debated freely as equals. Ambassador Kate Williams approached the podium to address the assembly. 5 years ago, we gathered here to build something new. Today, we celebrate not just our survival, but our success. The galaxy is free because we chose to make it free. The applause that followed could be heard across the chamber. But Jake knew this was not an ending. It was a beginning. The galaxy would face new challenges, new threats, new problems. But they would face them together, as partners rather than subjects. In the vast darkness between stars, the Terra's Fury drifted silently on patrol. Her dark matter drives hummed quietly, ready to defend the peace at a moment's notice. Inside her hull, human and alien crew members worked side by side, united by a common purpose. The age of empire was over. The age of freedom had begun. And humanity had proven that sometimes the greatest victory was knowing when to stop fighting and start building. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders. Now, for the first time in its history, everyone was free to explore them together.